All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into some seriously exciting and highly specific engineering career opportunities that are currently open at the Dhamra LNG terminal. For those who might not be in the loop, this is a massive joint venture associated with Adani Total Energies. We're talking about a huge piece of energy infrastructure, and right now they are actively hunting for top-tier engineering talent. So we're going to unpack exactly what roles are open, what they pay, and what you actually need to do to land one.
Okay, before we get into the weeds, let me ask you something. Are you really ready for a high-intensity career? I mean, do you have that specialized background to actually thrive in India's demanding, fast-paced industrial energy sector? Because, let's be real, these aren't your typical desk jobs. These roles demand hands-on expertise, a razor-sharp focus on safety, and the ability to operate incredibly complex systems when the pressure is absolutely on.
So, here's how we're going to break this down to help you see exactly where you fit in. 1. We'll look at the overarching Dhamra LNG opportunity. 2. Health, safety, and operations. 3. Maintenance and instrumentation. And 4. The part you're probably waiting for, salaries and exactly how to apply.
Let's jump right into Section 1, the Dhamra LNG opportunity, focusing on these high-intensity roles.
So, what does this environment actually look like? Well, you'd be stepping into a state-of-the-art but seriously intense industrial setting in Dhamra, Odisha. You are going to be working hands-on with liquefied natural gas or LNG systems. That means dealing directly with advanced process engineering where precision is literally everything. It's the kind of environment where your technical chops are going to be tested every single day. Just to give you a clearer picture, let's look at two of those core functions. BOG, that's boil-off gas management, and regasification. Because LNG is stored at incredibly cold temperatures, a little bit of it naturally warms up and boils off into gas. Managing that off gas safely, and then handling the regasification, literally warming the liquid back up into a gaseous state for distribution, those are the absolute core processes of this terminal. If you know the ins and outs of these complex thermodynamic processes, you are exactly who they are searching for.
All right, moving on to Section 2, Health, Safety, and Operations. Let's see who keeps his plant compliant and running smoothly.
Now, the baseline requirements for these roles are pretty strict. Take the Senior Engineer of Environment, which sits in the Health, Safety, Security, and Environment Department. They want a bachelor's in chemical, petroleum, or civil engineering, or a master's in environment, backed up by a solid 7 to 10 years of experience. Then, for the Panel Control Officer in Operations, you need a bachelor's in chemical engineering and 5 to 10 years of experience. So yeah, we are talking about senior, battle-tested professionals here.
So what does a typical Tuesday actually look like for these two? It's a really interesting contrast. The senior engineer is all about the big picture, ensuring strict regulatory compliance, running environmental audits, and making absolutely sure pollution control standards are met perfectly. But the panel control officer? They are literally glued to the SKDA and DCS screens in the control room. They're handling alarms and making split-second, real-time decisions to keep the LNG processing safely. One role protects the plant's environmental integrity, while the other is practically driving the minute-to-minute operations.
Which brings us to Section 3, Maintenance and Instrumentation. Because even the best operators need flawless equipment, right? Similar to operations, the maintenance side is split into two tiers here. Both need that critical 5 to 10 years of heavy industrial experience, but the qualifications differ. The maintenance officer requires an instrumentation diploma, whereas the instrumentation engineer strictly needs a full BE or BTech degree.
And you can really see the clear division of labor between these two. The maintenance officer is out there doing the highly critical hands-on work. We're talking physical calibration of instruments, troubleshooting specific sensors out in the field, and executing preventative maintenance. The instrumentation engineer, on the other hand, takes a much wider view. They're focused on overall reliability improvement, deep diving into DCS and PLC system troubleshooting, and taking on massive logistical tasks like coordinating plant shutdown maintenance work.
Now, pause for a second because this next part is absolutely crucial for your application. Across all 4 of these open roles, the hiring team is looking for a very specific pedigree. You must have proven experience in heavy industry. They specifically want backgrounds in LNG terminals, gas processing plants, refineries, fertilizer or ammonia plants, or large petrochemical complexes. If your background is in, say, light manufacturing, it's just not going to be a fit. They need people who truly understand the massive scale and the real hazards of heavy chemical and gas processing.
Okay, let's get to the good stuff. Section 4, Salaries and Application Details. Let's talk numbers. Looking at the upper bounds of the approximate salary brackets for the degree-holding roles,
The senior environment engineer sits at the top, potentially reaching upwards of 20 lakhs per annum. The panel control officer role ranges from roughly 8 to 18 lakhs, and the instrumentation engineer offers an approximate range of 7 to 16 lakhs. It's a highly competitive compensation structure for sure, but it totally reflects the high-stakes nature of the work.
And for the diploma-holding maintenance officer role, the approximate salary expectation is also really solid, ranging from 5 to 12 lakhs per annum. Keep in mind, across all these positions, the final salary offers are naturally going to vary. They'll be based heavily on the company's internal standards, your exact years of experience, and the specific scale of the projects you've been exposed to in the past.
So let's do a quick recap. Who should actually be applying for these? Well, consider yourself a prime candidate if you can confidently check off these 4 boxes. 1. You possess the relevant engineering degree or diploma. 2. You have a solid 5 to 10 years of continuous industrial experience. 3. That experience comes directly from the LNG, refinery, or petrochemical sectors. And 4. You have an intimate working knowledge of industrial process systems. If you're nodding your head right now, you need to take action.
The application process itself is wonderfully straightforward. Step 1. Do a final verification that your qualifications and years of experience actually match the specific role. Step 2. Tailor your resume. Please do not just send a generic CV. Highlight your specific industrial exposure. Tell them what DCS systems you've mastered or the environmental audits you've run. Make it painfully obvious you belong in a high-intensity environment. Finally, Step 3. Email that targeted resume directly to team.hr@adani-total.in.
But listen, you've got to move fast. The absolute final deadline to submit your application to the HR team is the 20th of May 2026. Mark that on your calendar right now. But honestly, if you have the skills, you should be preparing that email today.
So, review your qualifications today, get your submission ready, and just think for a second about the sheer scale of the energy infrastructure you could be operating. Will you be the next engineering leader at Dhamra LNG? Could your specific expertise be the key to keeping this vital piece of the global energy supply chain running safely and efficiently? It's a massive opportunity waiting for the right talent. So what's stopping you from taking that next massive step in your industrial energy career?